I'm Nick Seco from HomeRight Windows and Doors, and we're located in Waynesboro, Pennsylvania. So we do vinyl replacement windows, we do steel and fiberglass entry doors, we do aluminum storm doors, and we do sliding patio doors, all made by Provia. The windows are a vinyl replacement window, and it could be anything from double hungs to casements to bay and bow windows and everything in between. So when somebody calls in the office and needs an estimate, they get Roxanne on the phone typically, and she would schedule an appointment for me to come out and take some measurements, provide some literature, go through what options we have, and then I would follow up within about 24 to 48 hours with an estimate with all the details of the products as well as the installed price. I find that we're typically much more affordable than the companies that you see advertising on TV or in a lot of other places. If they're spending a lot of advertising dollars, obviously they're passing those costs on to their consumers. You could go to our website at homerightwaynesboro.com, or you could call us at 717-749-4874.
Local and live, covering Franklin and Washington counties, it's Let's Talk TriState.
Dan Dedona here with the local news weekly report from Hagerstown, Chambersburg, Shippensburg, Fairfield, Waynesboro, and all the communities that make up our local area. I'm going to start off with 5 things to do this weekend. That would be the weekend of the 18th of July. In Hagerstown, if you are an aviation buff, or even if you're just curious about some of the history of aviation, you've got a great deal going this coming weekend. On July 19th from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., the Hagerstown Aviation Museum is going to be having a vintage aircraft show at the Fairchild Dome Hangar. You can explore more than a century of aviation history. And in addition, and this is a pretty good deal, for $200, a $200 donation, you can experience the thrill of an open cockpit flight in an authentic 1943 PT-19 or a closed cockpit UC-61. You should look those up. They're interesting aircraft. That'll be Saturday. It's not your average Saturday outing, so you ought to take a look into that. Next up on the list is over in Chambersburg. The Twin Bridge Campground is going to be sponsoring what has become somewhat of an annual Dino Weekend. That'll be taking place all day for 3 days from July 18th through the 20th over at 1345 Twin Bridge Road in Chambersburg. It invites folks to come over and have a hayride with a dinosaur, join a foam party, and in the evening there's going to be a dino dance party. Classic favorites and prehistoric fun. You don't see a lot of prehistoric fun anymore, so this is an opportunity. Next up, the 49th Annual Ice Cream Social and Book Sale is going to be taking place at the Blue Ridge Summit Free Library up on the mountain just east of Waynesboro. That'll take place this Saturday, July 19th from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. And the library grounds will have more than 5,000 books available for readers of all ages. There's a free 5K fun run and a dog walk, and a variety of interactive entertainment. This is the library's primary fundraising activity for the year, so if you can come out and take advantage of it, I think you probably enjoy it. It's a very nice time. Next up, Rough Edges Brewing is going to be sponsoring the 3rd annual Home Brew Competition and Festival at Rough Edges in downtown Waynesboro on Route 16. The community is invited to savor free samples from area home brewers, enjoy Fat Russ's barbecue, and they'll also have live music. And all the while, contenders will be vying for the prize of having their beer professionally brewed by Rough Edges. That runs from 2 until 5 p.m. on Saturday, July 19th. Admission is free, and there's plenty of opportunities for seasoned beer enthusiasts and casual tasters to raise a glass. And the fifth item for this weekend is in downtown Chambersburg on Saturday, July 19th. Every year they sponsor the 1864 ransom burning and rebirth of Chambersburg. It's really an exciting story. I wasn't aware that they did this, but apparently they frequently when armies passed through towns, they would demand ransom, especially in Lee's case, in the Confederates' case. They were up north here to gather goods anyway. So they demanded a ransom from Chambersburg of $100,000 in gold or $500,000 in U.S. currency, and they refused. So they burned the town down. 550 buildings were destroyed, and an estimated 2,000 residents were left homeless. There was only one death in all of that, unfortunately, but fortunately it was only one. The Confederates' response was they had mixed feelings. The Union, on the other hand, used it as a battle cry to see what happens when the Confederates come to town. So probably boomeranged on them, but whatever amount of money they got, they paid for in motivation for the Union troops. Okay, we're going to add one extra item this week. Wilson College, our Master of Fine Arts students are making their final performance pieces at noon on Saturday, the 19th of July, at 1015 Philadelphia Avenue. It's going to feature theatrical and choreographic works, group pieces, theater, visual arts, and more. So if you want to see what the graduates of Wilson College's Fine Arts Master of Fine Arts Department are putting out, this is an opportunity. So we'll move past that, and we'll move on to the news for this past week. Interesting. We've been following a number of stories, but this one was a bit of a surprise. There were milk warnings that were put out, apparently in this past week. Two companies, Byers Organic in Mercersburg and Family Cow in Chambersburg, which also has 50 different locations. During routine inspections between the 8th and the 10th of July, they found some bacteria that are somewhat precursors for E. coli. So the warnings in the article basically tell you is, look, check if you bought any milk or any cheese products that were made from raw milk from either of these two companies, you should pitch it. Certainly don't eat it. In Chambersburg, we had a story we've been covering for a couple of weeks now about how the 1,400 employees of the WellSpan Hospital in Chambersburg had first talked about a strike, and then they authorized a strike, and then just a few days ago, their SEIU bargaining representative said they were going to have a strike. Well, since that time, they've settled. The deal involves 3.5% over the course of 3 years, so 10.5% total. Some efforts to recruit and retain staff, disincentives for outsourcing or moving staff out of the hospital, and of course there are retirement benefits and more. It seems like what the SEIU was really working for on behalf of the employees was to take steps with respect to WellSpan's management, that they wouldn't hollow out the hospital, make it easier to close or transfer or do things of that sort. So that they seem to have been successful in that regard. In Hagerstown, another story that we've been following for some time, outdoor lodging, also known as homelessness, people who have been camping in public property. This has now been voted upon, and it is now prohibited on public property. The Hagerstown Police Department is going to be the only enforcement mechanism for that. But there's still a sense of balance in the conversation that went into this. On the one hand, there's compassion for the people who are there, but on the other hand, there's a certain amount of struggle, like there always is when one person's rights bounce into another person's rights. There's a bit of a struggle to see to it that your compassion doesn't end up taking away from businesses or other property owners. So while they've come to that agreement, they've agreed to continue looking at new partners, outreach, and recovery. And there really are. I mean, this is what churches do. This is what a lot of nonprofits do. This is a good thing. Not only to prohibit the camping, outdoor lodging, but to actually continue to take steps to actually deal with the sources of the problem for those people that are forced into those circumstances. They're struggling with it. Those are good people. In Pennsylvania, Doug Mastriano and Chris Gebhardt, two senators for the state, have proposed an end to property taxes. Mastriano describes property taxes as representing a bit of a problem, especially for older people living in the area. His argument basically said, look, these people have paid for their home, they're ready to live there for the rest of their lives, and yet they get charged a rent in the form of a property tax, which sometimes they can't pay, which forces them to get rid of the home that they paid for. It is a little bit perverse when you think about it that way. At any rate, they don't address alternate dollars. So there's a little bit of a question, at least in the back of my mind, are they just tossing this out there in order to get the debate going, or is this the end of what they think? Knowing Senator Mastriano, I suspect there's probably more to it, but we'll continue to follow that as it develops. In Hagerstown, you can look forward to an increase in electric rates. The reason for this is rising demand and a variety of mandates against fossil fuels have driven up the cost of electricity. Now, usually what communities do is they buy capacity, enough capacity to satisfy all of their needs, even at peak periods. So the price, as the price goes up, the cost to users is going to go up. It's in this particular case, these capacities have gone up to $16,000 from $2,300 per day when they use them, and for the average user in Hagerstown using 1,000 kilowatts, that'll work out to about $16.40 per month. Now, they are looking beyond that at a variety of things that they can do to help mitigate that, including battery storage, if the technology ever gets up to it. But they're looking for ways to help deal with that capacity problem. If they could just cut off the peaks, and they only had to provide a base load, I think the costs, they seem to be heading in the direction that suggests that the cost could be reduced. Also in Hagerstown, they are looking to extend block grants and other monies for community investments. They have $1.3 million available from three different sources. They are in the short term, they are prioritizing housing and neighborhood renewal, public welfare, and also nonprofits. It's part of what they have to, in order to secure this for the future, they have to have a 5-year plan, and they need to submit their applications to the federal folks, Housing and Urban Development, by the 16th of August. Hagerstown is also revising their grant agreement their grant agreement arrangements to be consistent with Maryland law. The changes are all described as technical, but would recommend that anybody who's got a grant with the city of Hagerstown should probably take a look at it and find out what the details are. Just do your own due diligence. In Washington County, the Boys and Girls Club opened a 21,000 square foot youth center over on Pennsylvania Avenue. They had a ribbon cutting on the 17th of July. So now you've got an 84-year-old organization that has more space so that they can serve after-school programs and a variety of other purposes. It's good work for them. Also in Franklin County, we've talked about mosquitoes and tick control. We ran an article this past week that basically says they have a particularly difficult problem this year because we had such a wet spring. So mosquitoes and ticks are proliferating. So they're spending a lot of time going around trying to find, inspecting habitats and treating the habitats, spraying to reduce populations and avoid diseases. They are actually soliciting for help from throughout the community. Among things they recommend is if there's standing water somewhere on your property, see if you can't get rid of it. Any kind of standing water is a breeding ground. There are other suggestions in the article, so I'd suggest you check it out on localnews1.org. Let's see here. The Franklin County seniors are invited to a free financial planning, actually 4 financial planning sessions at 4 different senior centers on the 28th of July. There'll be at each one of these 4 different locations, there'll be presentations and Q&A. Excuse me. This is a good thing for everybody. There's an awful lot of people that really don't have although you've been living and spending money for all of your life, sometimes there's a little extra guidance that could help you out. For example, if at all possible, don't run up the balance on your credit cards. Those things are extraordinarily expensive. You just don't want to get into debt on credit cards. Debt is fine, but credit cards will charge you 18, 19, 20% or more, depending upon what the going rate is. Franklin County Commissioners renewed a grant program supplying critical support to crimes against women. We got $31,500, and they're hoping the application will be successful. Also in Franklin County, there's a 60th anniversary the Franklin County Fair had their 60th anniversary, and it was a big success. They were showcasing a lot of local agriculture, featured Fair Queen Lane Hess and a number of other people who won awards. And in addition to that, there were an awful lot of animals and crops and whatnot that won awards. So very successful event. In Waynesboro, the New Hope Thrift Shop, which is associated with the New Hope Shelter, they don't get a lot of advertising, but they perform a very, very useful service to the local community by helping people who don't necessarily have a lot of money to spend on groceries or clothing or things of that sort. So they are working hard on making sure that there's a good shopping experience, and there's a lot of delay. A good story about that. The Washington County Museum is sharing a bold expansion with the public. They are in the process of redesigning the main museum at City Park, and they are providing a new educational center at Key Street. And they also teased the idea of a phase 3. So check it out in the article. I think you'll enjoy that. Let's see. In police news, in Chambersburg, actually virtually all police departments do this from time to time, but it's worth repeating. There's another series of scams that are circulating. If you see things coming to you talking about social engineering or flooding in Texas, be skeptical. People normally wouldn't approach you in an email looking for that. Clearly, don't. Feel free to read it, but don't click on any links, and by all means, don't open any attachments, because it frequently doesn't go well. In People News, Franklin County's Good Wolf Treatment Center is celebrating its 42nd through 44th graduates on the 24th of July at 5 p.m. This is an interesting program. A combination of the judges, the courts, and the police and medical experts got together, and the idea was that a lot of people who got caught up in the opioid epidemic and became drug users, they needed help, and not only help getting clear of the drugs. They have a bit of a stain on them when they finish that, and people are not unreasonably a little bit reluctant to hire somebody who has a past with drugs in it. So what they do is they take additional steps. They don't send them to jail simply. If they think somebody is worthy of the effort, They take great pains to try to see to it that they have an opportunity to develop, to reestablish relationships, and to get back out in the community and be productive, which is ultimately the best result that could come of many of these things. So it's a great program. 134 people have entered the program. Only 44 have graduated, which attests to their adherence to standards. So that's a good thing. In Greencastle, Carl's Drugs is celebrating its 200th anniversary. Turns out Carl's Drugs is the nation's oldest continuing operating pharmacy. They've been open since 1825, and they're going to have an event on the 8th of August from 9 in the morning until 6 at night to celebrate that. In Boonesboro, along a similar vein, Turn of the Page Bookstores is celebrating its 30th anniversary on the 19th of July. So it'll be at 10 o'clock. It's sponsored by the Boonesboro Economic Development Committee, and they are celebrating the anniversary and small businesses in general. So that's a great effort. If you make an organization, especially a small business, last more than 10 years, you really got something going. So good on you, folks. One more thing from people. Hagerstown Community College recognized retirees at a luncheon on the 16th of July at the Runways restaurant over at the airport. Paula Kessler and Petra Friedrich were honored at that celebration. And in health news, more of a generic health thing, seasonal. Virtually everybody is recommending that you take UV safety seriously. There's a lot of bad things can happen if you get too much sun. So by all means, cover up, drink water, seek shade, and definitely use sunglasses. All right, that pretty much wraps up the news summary for this week. We also have a large number of additional stories on local history, the writings of Dargan Boy. There's a lot of sports out there that we never actually have enough time to get to. So there are many other articles that you can think, and they're all about activities from all the communities that make up our constantly moving mosaic. We're very proud to be the news source for First Sandig radio stations. You can see all the local news at localnews1.org. And with that, we'll get down to the most important thing of the day, the thought of the day. Television is a medium because anything well done is rare. That's it for this week. Have a great weekend.
If you'd like to be featured on an upcoming episode of Let's Talk Tri-State, call 717-597-9200 or email letstalk@921thegoat.com.